Do you copy? K1GZL.
Roger there. You say you had antenna damage?
Oh, yes. Yes. We had 5 inches of extremely heavy wet snow the night before last. It did a job. It really did a job. The director and reflector on my quad held up all right. However, the driven element, the top of it, of the diamond-shaped quad, is supported from a rope going from high up on 2 telephone poles, and that broke loose from the heavy wet snow. It's been up there for years and years. Broke loose and came crashing halfway down. My SWR is well over 2 to 1. However, the darn thing is working, and I'm on reduced power. And I'm also on another microphone, a Heil Classic. However, I have an HM19 Heil cartridge in the microphone. I've got a very short, interesting story I'd like to tell you about a coincidence, 10,000 to 1, that occurred to me when I was in the Navy. Go ahead.
All right. Just looking at the signal, are you using an external antenna tuner?
No, I don't have a tuner, unfortunately. I try to get near resonance on my antennas, but unfortunately I don't. As long as you can copy, all right, maybe I can get away with it. Go ahead.
Roger, you're about 9 dB above my noise level. Usually you're like a 10 or 12, but you are making the trip. So let's try it. This is KC9VKV with the Friday morning Qso-Vlog for 10/26/18 on today 7193 because of circumstances on the main channel that we had to move up a tad to try to back down on the QRM. So KC9VKV, go ahead with the story there.
Okay, and this is Charlie, K1 Germany, 0 London, and Clarksville, northern New Hampshire. I want to tell you about a coincidence which is unbelievable, which occurred to me in the Navy. I had only been in about 9 months, and I was waiting over in Yokosuka, Japan. I was on temporary active duty from Waihawa in Hawaii, and I was at Navy 85, about 12 miles north of Honolulu. And but I was sent over to Japan for a 7-month temporary active duty deal, and I had to report aboard an aircraft carrier, the Lake Champlain CVA-39. CVA-39. I was in. We were getting ready to get aboard. It was lunchtime. There was extreme heat and humidity. It was absolutely as humid as you could imagine. There were thousands and thousands of sailors standing around with their various vessels, and I happened to run into this fellow, and I asked him. I said, "Are you on the Lake Champlain?" And he said, "Yes, yes, I am." I said, "Well, tell me, is it chicken? What's it like? Is it very strict?" He says, "Well, it's not bad. I've only been on for a short time, but yeah, it takes a long time to find your way around on the carrier." So I said, "Well, I'm a radio operator, and I'm going aboard in a few hours. How long have you been in the Navy?" I asked him. And he told me, "Well, I've been in the Navy just about 4 months." I said, "Well, that's interesting. My brother's been in the Navy for 4 months. By the way, my name is Charlie Morgan." And he said, "Well, I'm Dan Peters. My name is Dan Peters." So I said, I asked him, I said, "Where did you go through boot camp. Where did you go through the basic training? And they said, well, I went through Great Lakes. And I said, well, you know, that's interesting. My brother went through Great Lakes. In fact, if I can remember right, he was in company, let's see, yes, 464th. 464th. And he froze. He stood there and froze. And generally there's about 60 men in each barracks. So he said to me, is your brother Jim Morgan? I said, my gosh, you knew my brother. Not only did I know him, he slept over me. What do you think of that, Jim? Go ahead.
Well, obviously, a small world. You just never know. In the middle of nowhere, you'll run up against somebody that is your best friend's buddy. Roger, Roger.
Roger. It was a shock. And they wrote back and forth for a while, and he was describing my brother's girlfriend at the time on his locker, and I knew he was exactly right. He was exactly right. But I'll tell you, when you consider the heat and humidity, and everybody is melting, and we both froze in our tracks. Thousands and thousands of guys up and down waiting for, outside of their shift. And I'll tell you, I had chills on my back that I don't think I've ever had since. Go ahead.
Roger. Now, Charlie, I'm gonna ask you to look at your ALC. I know you changed mics a little bit there. Check your ALC. I think you might be a little low on your ALC. Your signal is usually fatter. So check your ALC. Maybe pump up your mic to bring your ALC to mid-range, mid-scale.
Okay, wait a minute. I'd have to play with this thing. Yeah, wait a minute. I'm trying to get it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. But my voice is a little bit out. This morning. I made a change. Go ahead.
Roger. Yeah, I think, most folks don't realize that when you change mics, you got to go back into your ALC and be sure that your mic level is driving your ALC to mid-scale or two-thirds. I prefer two-thirds, but at least mid-scale, because that's the fattening of your audio. That's the first place that starts. I run across a guy that says, hey, I don't run any compression. Well, that's what your ALC is doing there. It's fattening up your signal. It's not really compression. It's more on the limiting side, but the end result is a fattening of the audio. Only difference is the attack and release time of the limiter versus the compressor. Roger.
Okay. Roger on that, Jim. Well, look, Jim, I'm going to let you get back and pick up some others. Some others there, because I know you have a group here, and it's always a pleasure working you there. So thanks a million. By the way, it's a beautiful sunny day up here on this 26th of October, and the temperature is up in the middle 20s at -3 Celsius, and we have 3 inches of snow on the ground here at the present time. It's a fantastic day with a storm tomorrow turning snow to rain, unfortunately. Okay, 73, Jim. And look, I won't hold it any further, but thank you very much for picking me up. But my voice is out here a little bit. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie, 3ZOH. And before you go, I just want to let you know that I am going to be conducting some experiments this afternoon at 3:30 on hopefully 7193, but somewhere in that area, just to check out the difference between the morning propagation and the afternoon propagation. So it'll be about 3:30, hopefully on 7193. Roger, Roger.
Oh, Roger, Roger. I'll try to make it, Jim. I'll try to make it. And you're 10 to 20 over 9 here. You're just as strong as you were last week when the antenna was working. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Well, gosh, a 2 is not going to affect that much. I mean, as far as efficiencies, it plays heck with the finals. Probably on the edge of the cliff, the edge of the ledge. You don't want to run that too much, but and as far as the signal loss or gain, it's not that big a thing. It's just, I really love to play the game, get in on down there at 1.01 to 1 or like that, but then Mother Nature comes along and she has totally different ideas about your antennas and where they should be. So 3's Charlie, and maybe with any luck we'll catch up with each other this afternoon on this frequency as we ponder the pros and cons of morning or afternoon Qso-Vlog recording. This is KC9VKV.
Okay, very fine there, Jim. Beautiful, beautiful copy up here, just as clear as a bell. All right, I'll try to make that. And it's always a pleasure. But excuse my voice; it's a little KC9VKV, K1GZL. Thank you again.
Roger, Roger. Charlie 3 is that away.